submarine-launched weapon. Livermore and Los Alamos, as I told you, went into a design competition, which my lab, Livermore, won. And the plan was to actually, though, redesign all of the major weapon systems over time in the U.S. arsenal. And we were able to go to Congress again to say what the program was, to work with various members of Congress and the public. Congress did not fund it. And I actually had the experience of walking into Senator Barack Obama's office right before he declared, and sat down and said I wanted to talk about the reliable replacement warhead, and his staffer said, "Oh, the senator has just asked me to research that and come up with a position on it." I was like, hallelujah. And I had a report, we had commissioned Dr. Robert Siviak, who is a physicist and used to work at the Office of Management and Budget in the White House. And the aide, I kid you not, the aide said, "Oh, I knew Dr. Siviak." And so I just want to use that as a small story to encourage you to, as you learn things, remember we were talking about knowledge plus action is power, is to talk to people with what you know. And you never know, it's like the ripples in the pond when you drop in the pebble, where that's going to go. And Barack Obama opposed the reliable replacement warhead, and when he became president, it was policy that we would not develop it. Well, that is a huge victory. I need to tell you that there's something called the life extension programs. Now, the United States may not have single-payer, government single-payer health insurance for seniors, citizens, but it does have it for its nuclear arsenal. That it's single-payer health care for nuclear weapons. And in the life extension programs, if you refurbish a weapon, you change its limited life components, and there's something at Sandia Laboratory that does the engineering for what the weapons labs design, headquarters, and it's called the Surveillance and Evaluation Program. And they take apart 11 warheads of each design each year and look very carefully. And if there's any kind of rust or aging, and by the way, most of that would be in things like the guidance system or a wire, because those are not in a hermetically sealed container, they fix it. And that's supposed to be what the life extension program is. But the weapons labs are walking the life extension programs farther and farther and farther into new weapon design territory. So to just briefly tell you a bit what's going on today, Los Alamos in New Mexico and Sandia, New Mexico, I have the lead to life extend the B-61 bomb. There's 2 tactical versions of it that are in NATO countries. They're in Europe, and there are a couple hundred in Europe, it's a little more complicated, but essentially that's where most of the tactical are, and they're about to do something which we're calling the first Frankenbomb, which is to take 4 different versions of the B-61, including one that is strategic, and do what we call mix and match with the parts, use the bomb core of one and various parts from the other, and create the B-61-12. There are a lot of reasons why this is a bad thing. One of them is they're taking the bombs farther and farther and farther and farther away from what we call the pedigree arsenal that was fully tested in Nevada before the moratorium in 1992. There is a danger walking the bombs away from what was fully tested, that they'll come back and say, we have a crisis in confidence and we want to test something again. And We would like to shut that door both with the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, ratifying it. The United States signed it, Clinton signed it, but it's not ratified. But we also want to shut that door by not allowing these ambitious excursion into weapons design via the life extension programs. It started out at $4 billion, a little under $4 billion was the estimated cost. The Defense Department just released its estimate, and it's now estimated at about $10.4 billion. And I think that that will likely go up, and the first production unit might not be until 2022. So those of you who are studying NATO policy, whether or not NATO is going to continue to have a nuclear weapons mission that far into the future is something that's being debated off and on, and various countries have said that they, or at least decision makers in various countries have said that they would like to get out of the nuclear bomb hosting business altogether. And so there's a possibility the United States could be spending more than $10 billion on a bomb, essentially new nuclear bomb that won't have a mission. Livermore Lab is in the beginning stages of doing a life extension program on the W78. I have been told, cannot prove this to you, but I have been told that one of the reasons why they're so gung-ho to do mix and match on the B-61 to create the B-61-12 Frankenbomb is because they want to exercise these design capabilities in this new environment of stockpile stewardship so that they can do this even more ambitious, even bigger change in the W78 and actually make something called the W78, W88. And you don't need to memorize the numbers. The import of that is that you would have a weapon that could go on more than one platform. It could go in a submarine, it could go on an ICBM, and by the way, they would use the bomb core from a third type of bomb. So at that point, you're into real Frankenbomb territory. You're into what my group would consider a new nuclear weapon, and what many other countries in the world are going to be considering new nuclear weapons, because these weapons are now being given capabilities and characteristics that did not exist in the original nuclear weapon. And you cannot, it's my group's belief that you cannot get to the elimination of nuclear weapons by designing new and modified nuclear weapons with new, and in some cases more usable military characteristics. The B-61-12, the one I talked about, for example, would be more accurate than the current B-61s in Europe, would be able to travel further, would be on a whole new plane, in fact. So certainly, in terms of U.S. nuclear non-proliferation aims, they're going to be, I think, hampered by what the weapons labs are doing today and tomorrow with your tax dollars. And I think it's going to take a lot of public outcry to stop it, but my experience with the robust nuclear earth penetrator and with the reliable replacement warhead, two new nuclear weapons that were never designed and will not be designed because of public outcry, makes me very hopeful that we will be able to constrain the life extension programs, and the fact that the price tag for this first Frankenbomb has gone from $4 billion to $10 billion in a time when we're supposed to be tightening the budget belt. I think we really have an opportunity to rein that program in. I want to switch a little bit and tell you, with a few minutes left, a little bit about, just to give you a picture of Livermore Lab and let you extrapolate a bit from that in terms of what's going on in the weapons complex. And about another campaign that my group is undertaking. So when I first moved to Livermore in 1976, I moved there just because it was not that far from UC Berkeley, where I was in the School of Journalism. I had a young child. The place had a lot of parks. It seemed like a wonderful place.